Hi, Sophie. Uh, the burning question right now. Your drop down in the batting order. Uh, you know, just going by the the styles of your style and Susie's style. It would seem that probably you retaining the opener slot probably makes a little more logical sense. Could you just help us, understand what prompted that move? And she's giving me a glare.
No, I'm listening. It's a good question. Anything else, or is that no? Look, I've been down the order for close to 2 years now, so I don't think it's anything new. It's obviously part of a broader strategy. I think for us, in terms of Georgia Plimmer, plays a real key role for that. I think we've been really honest and open about the fact that me and Susie aren't getting any younger, and we really want to, I guess, prepare Georgia to fill that role, and we think that's better to do that with her at the top of the order and one of us rather than both of us, so that when we do call time on our careers, you're not trying to find two new openers rather than, just the one to sit up top there with Georgia. And I think the great thing about this team is we've got flexibility within the order. So depending on the game situation, depending on conditions, we've got opportunities to mix the batting order up. But I've got such great confidence in Georgia, Susie, Meli, Maddie, Brooke, everyone in the batting order to be able to do a job. And that's what we've spoken at lengths about, is not just with the bat but with the ball as well, is we've all got a role to play. And if we can do our role really well, this team will have success.
How was the camel ride yesterday?
How was the camel ride?
Yesterday.
I'm still recovering from it, and I think the camel probably is too, to be fair, but great experience.
Sophie, in terms of preparation, yes, you didn't look. You lost the series in Australia, but in terms of ticking off boxes, you think you were able to achieve a number of goals that you had set out for yourself in terms of players, opportunities, and development, and that kind of a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we always knew the challenge we were going to face playing Australia in Australia. We thought it was an ideal, preparation for this World Cup is to play the best in the world, and I certainly think although we didn't get the results that we wanted, some of the, like you say, the small things that we were able to tick off, I thought, in the second game when we bowled them out, that's only the second time Australia's been bowled out in 50 games, I believe. So to be able to get that sort of confidence and know that when we execute with the ball, we can knock over the best teams in the world. So, things like that. I thought with the batting, obviously we saw Georgia Plimmer score a maiden 50, which was fantastic. We've seen contributions from a lot of different players, and that was certainly what we want heading into a World Cup, is you want players in form. And I think, we've done that. We had another 2 warm-up games. We were able to, have a few small tweaks, but we're pretty close to what we think might be our starting lineup. And, that's something that we've learnt and probably grown from the last couple of World Cups, is making sure that we're really clear on what our best 11 is, and going into a tournament really confident with that.
Hi, kia ora. Aiden Carson is someone who has grown through the ranks and is coming out to be one of the really good spinners, not just for New Zealand in the worldwide stage, and had really good games leading into the competition. How do you look at her growth? And along with her, there are too many youngsters also in the New Zealand squad. How do you look at their particular growth?
Yeah, I think it's been really exciting. As you mentioned, Eden's been fantastic. Obviously, Fran Jonas as well as another youngster, and you sometimes forget that Meli is also only 23, 24. I think, she's been around for 7 or 8 years now. I think one of the big things that probably goes unnoticed is the coaching that we've had. So we had Craig Howard in the program for close to 2 years, and we've got Paul Wiseman now, who both have extensive knowledge of the game and of spin bowling. And I think the work that those two men have put in to our spin bowling group has been really important. And it's really cool, the relationship that they've got with our spin bowling group is... Our bowlers are they're so keen to learn, and I think you've seen that, as you mentioned, the growth that we've seen from the likes of Eden and Fran. It sometimes is hard to forget that they have only been playing international cricket for 2 years. I think they've really pushed the boundaries in terms of accelerating their game and their development. So I'm really excited. I think they're starting to come into their own. They're starting to take a lot more confidence into their own game and to have a lot of belief, which at the international level you need to have. I think it's obviously a pretty fickle game. So, look, I've been super impressed with their work ethic. How much they care about the game. They sometimes think they're cool kids, but they really love it. But I just love the energy that they bring to not only spin bowling, but the rest of the group as well.
Yeah. So are there any lingos that you're learning from them that you wouldn't have otherwise? Some Gen Z stuff coming from any of them?
Half the time I can't understand what they're saying, so I need a translator to be able to work out what they're saying to me. But no, look, they've been great. I think the energy that they bring, it's sort of quite refreshing for the likes of myself and Susie and Leah, who have been at a number of these tournaments, to sort of see their eyes light up at different opportunities, and to see, you know, just being at a World Cup and how special it is and what an honour it is. So that's been really cool for us, is just to see their faces light up and to remember that this really is a special occasion. Doesn't matter if it's your first or your ninth. I think this opportunity to represent your country on the world's, you know, the world stage is something that should be really special to every single player at this tournament.
And just last one from me, someone like Meli, you mentioned that we sometimes forget that how young a player she is, but over the past few years she is taking up more and more roles with the bat, with the ball, and she's doing it diligently, doing it really well. So how do you look at, is there any thought about the workload management of her particular, or you just want to give her more freedom to do what she's doing the best?
Look, that's a really good question, and I think it's really important. I think when you talk about workload with Meli, it's probably not on the field, it's probably off the field, and making sure she's got that balance right. I think she's been really brave in terms of sharing her journey with mental health, and that's certainly something that I think New Zealand cricket, the White Ferns, are really supportive of, is making sure that she gets that balance right. I think she'd play as much cricket as she could, so sometimes it's about us pulling her back a little bit, knowing that she's going to have a really long career, and it's about making sure that she can be at her best each and every time she steps out onto that field. But look, it's hard. Meli loves cricket, so it can be a bit of a struggle at times, but I think it's really important that we're having those discussions with Meli, that she's involved in those discussions, and at the end of the day, it's her career. So, yeah, I think it's really important that balance remains throughout her career.
Right. Hi, Sophie. Do you want to ask? Yeah. Hi, Sophie. I was trying to understand, just in terms of a World Cup, when you come into a tournament like this, there are times when it becomes about momentum. So in this year, the results really haven't gone New Zealand's way, but the performances have been really good. So when you sit down to maybe talk strategy, or when you sit down to figure out, okay, this is where we're doing things well, this is where we maybe need to improve, what have those conversations looked like for you, and how have you, as maybe a senior player, just pumped up the rest of the group to just say, okay, this is a fresh start, we can get going again? What's that looked like for you?
Jeez, you guys have got some good questions tonight. Look, I think it's really been important, probably not just leading into this World Cup, but probably for the last 18, 24 months, because we've had such a young group. What success looks like has been a little bit different in terms of it's not always focusing on results. Absolutely, we want to win games of cricket. Don't get me wrong about that. But sometimes when you've got players that are so young and so inexperienced in their cricketing journey, especially their international cricketing journey, sometimes success looks slightly different. It's about how have they grown as a player, what have they learnt, and how have they developed, not just between World Cups, but between series, how have they grown at camps. And that's been a big talking point for us, and I guess reminding those players of the confidence that they should have from the work that they've put in. We speak a lot in this group about care and compete, and about, I guess the care part is caring for your performance and growing and trying to be better every single opportunity you get. So for us, obviously, we've had a real focus on this World Cup coming up, but it has been about, we know if we're doing our processes right, if we've been training hard and, you know, following what we think is going to be successful at this World Cup, then that's what I guess we judge ourselves on, not necessarily performance or wickets taken or runs scored. It's if we know that we're ticking all the things that we want to be, the results will take care of themselves.
Right. I wanted to ask you guys this yesterday itself, but we didn't have time at the captain's PC. So I know there was a lot of Meg Lanning talk happening around the press conference, enough to maybe slightly irk Elisa as well. But what I wanted to ask you was, when Meg had that conversation on that podcast, when she spoke about how difficult it was and the toll it took on her as a captain, I guess, I don't know if it actually sparked conversations in other teams in terms of what tolls it takes on leaders, because they're just in and out of that. There's no out of that job, is there? You're just constantly thinking about things, and that's just on your mind, how to run the team, how to fix something that's going wrong, how to help this person, that person, how to help yourself. What does that look like for you, Sophie? What's that experience been like for you as a senior player, or for someone like Susie? What does that look like for you guys as the senior leadership group?
Yeah, look, I think Alyssa actually probably alluded to it a little bit, that we've both been fortunate that we've come into captaincy a little bit later in our life, and I think that's really helped in terms of having that balance and having that, I guess, knowing ourselves a little bit better than if we were to be thrust into it. Like, I know Meg was, 22, 23 when she took over the captaincy. So I think that certainly helps a lot. I sort of know myself a lot better than when I did if I was 21, 22. Probably not as mature, but look, I think, yeah, that plays a massive part. And you're right, the demands on the captain are quite often unseen. I think talking to some of the other captains yesterday, it's a 24/7 job. You don't switch off. You don't, especially coming to events like this, it's not just about on the field, it's about all the media and everything that goes around with it. It's the meeting with the players. It's about, you know, playing conditions. It's
camels.
You know, camels. It's the really important things. So I guess I sort of see that as, it's part of the role and it's part of the challenge. Obviously, Heather mentioned that it, you know, every day is a new challenge as captain and as a leader, and that's what makes it really exciting, but also it's really tough. So I think having that support network, and I'm so fortunate in the White Ferns setup, you know, Susie's captain for a number of years. We've got a really great leadership group that wraps around not only me but the whole team, and I think that's important to be able to share the load, because I think that's probably one of the biggest things I learned was being able to rely on others as well. I can't be everything to everyone, unfortunately, so being able to use and to delegate and to use the strengths of the people around me has been probably the most important thing that I've learned in my time as a leader.
Right, just last one from me, because you spoke about learning from people around you. Just in terms of this, right, figuring out the mental aspect of the game, what have you learned from some of the youngsters in the side? In just maybe relaxing or figuring out how to compartmentalize certain things? Has there been stuff that you've picked up from the younger lot?
I've learned that I cannot dance at all compared to them. But yeah, look, I think that's the great thing about the White Ferns environment is we've got a real learning environment that it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to learn and fail and grow. And I think it doesn't matter, if you're an old fart like me or you're one of the young ones like Eden or Fran or Izzy. I think it's really important that we're all on the same wavelength in terms of being able to make mistakes and to learn and to share that sort of information and those experiences, because that's what's going to make us better. So I'm not too sure what they've taught me, apart from the fact that I don't understand them half the time and they've got better dance moves. But look, the energy that they bring certainly, it inspires me to keep being here and keep wanting to give more to the White Ferns jersey.
Regarding your opposition, since the last time you have met, there's more of a variety in batting and bowling, both of the sense for India. So how do you look at that challenge? First of all, when you played in the franchise leagues, you faced most of these people on too many occasions. So is there any sense of familiarity, or this is just another start and you have to start from the zero again?
It's probably a little bit of both, to be honest. I think obviously myself and Meli have probably had a fair bit of experience playing, obviously in the WPL the last 2 years, and before that, obviously Suzie as well. We've played in India a lot, played against the Indians, so I think for that, it's really important that we take information, but World Cups are just an absolute different gravy, that they're a different beast, that everyone starts on zero. They're one-off games. It's not a bilateral series where you're playing the same opposition over and over again and you can learn and grow over that series. So for us, we're obviously trying to take real key information out of what we see from the opposition, but for us, it's about going back to our strengths and focusing on what we can do as a team and knowing that if we nail those, if we nail our roles, that we're going to be able to beat any team at this tournament.
I think we have to wrap up there. Oh, last one.
Last one. Sophie, you've already declared this is going to be your last as the T20 captain of the White Ferns team. Personally and as a leader, first of all, now that you're here at the World Cup, does that hit different? That this is the last tournament, so to speak, last series in charge. And secondly, personally, as a player and as a leader, do you have a goal in terms of what's the parting shot going to be like?
Oh, look, I think everyone wants to win this World Cup, so that's certainly the goal for everyone here, and it's no different for me. I'd love to be able to lift the trophy with this bunch of players, and it has been a little bit weird, if I'm being honest. I'm not retiring or anything, it's just stepping down as the T20 captain, but it certainly has made me reflect on, I guess, my career and the opportunities that I've had, thinking back to the first one, 2009, which probably shows my age, but to see the growth of the women's game is something that I'm incredibly proud of and have been lucky to be a part of. But I think it's really nice again, and this is probably where the youngsters help, is that my energy and my focus is on this tournament right now. I'm sure after this event I'll be able to reflect and celebrate what's been, but certainly at the moment my focus is on this tournament and more importantly on our game tomorrow.
Thank you.